Okay. Whoa.
Okay. Situation averted.
Now there's a big light in your face.
No, it's not. It's not.
Should I turn the light off? Or the light off? The air conditioning? Off. Okay, and then we might have, you hear the baby monitor because my kids are asleep upstairs. And we might have somebody come down and be like, Dad, I gotta use the potty.
Be like, hold it.
Isn't she cute? She's so cute.
Hold it.
Okay. Totally make awesome videos, podcasts. This is about LEDs, if you can tell. Take one. Just kidding. There's only one take ever, so. Hey, Jared.
Hey, what's up?
Did you do anything fun this week?
Yeah, I went to California.
Oh, really? Yeah. I think I knew that because of your Instagram. Do you guys follow his Instagram? What's your Instagram?
It's just Jared Janes.
Man, you got in early.
I did.
Or you spell it really funny.
I spell it funny, and I got in. No, I didn't get in early. I was a late bloomer on Instagram for sure. My wife got real mad when I passed her on followers. It was like it was a bad day for her.
My name is super unique, so usually I can just jump in and pull my name down anytime I want.
That's good. I mean, I can't say that I never said your name incorrectly. I did. Cameron?
Yeah, I get that all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about to the folks, to the peoples.
Okay.
And I'm gonna double check while you introduce what we're talking about. I'm gonna double check our audio levels on the back of the camera.
Oh.
Because it sounds a little quiet on my end, but that just could be my...
So it's like, you can't really tell, but
we're
this
fine.
is kind of like LED heaven in here today.
It's LED Town.
It's LED Town. And we got the panels going. We got one surprise guest. And the black magic keeps like poking me in the back here. But
I'm gonna turn on our timer so that we don't go crazy. Okay. So my first introduction to LED lighting technology, and this is something that I've known about LEDs for a super long time. I've been into electronics and making little breadboards and stuff, and I actually thought about taking a piece of coroplast and soldering as many LEDs as I could to it to make a super soft, huge 4x panel. I never did it. I should have done it, and I would have been awesome.
a long time ago.
But these guys broke onto the scene just as I was heavily into almost manufacturing CFL lights, actually.
Gotcha.
If you guys have been watching my YouTube channel at all in the past, I'd hinted to things I was doing that got totally bowled over by LEDs, which is okay because they're a far superior product.
They're nice. I mean, look, light emitting diodes.
So tell me, Jared, from a stills background, what were you thinking when you first, because you did flash mostly.
Yeah, I mean, so the thing that's nice about constant light, or what we used to call them in photography is hot lamps.
Because they used to be hot.
They were hot. And when you're doing still photography, the nice thing is when you're doing product photography, you can do a lot of tweaking before you ever start taking pictures and get stuff, because it's just what you see is what you get. You know, that was the old...
I never understood flash. Like in the studio, especially when I was doing still stuff, when I was learning it, they'd take us into a studio, and they're like, "Here's a flash setup." And I'm like, I don't see how he's lighting this thing. The pictures turn out great, but I'm like, I move it here, move it there. I'm like, okay, whatever.
I mean, the nice thing about there are a few things that flash that you can't do with hot lamps, and you need flash. But for the most part, when you're doing product photography, constant lights are awesome, and I've been using them on my shooting table for my product photography for a long time, so I like them.
And okay, so LEDs, they've been around for a long time now. You guys are most likely familiar with them. We have, and let's just talk about the form factor really quick. You basically have, for the longest time, one form factor, and that's this grouping, can you see this guy down here? Yeah, this cluster, they call it. Cluster of LEDs where you have 1,000 light sources gang together to generate this light that's pushed out. And that's just kind of the way they've done it, because LEDs weren't powerful enough to do one single source or something like that. And another issue they have is with cooling. So you just spread out these lights, because otherwise you have these one light that gets like crazy, crazy hot. But so let's talk about the pros and the cons about the panels.
Yeah.
So for me, what's a pro for you, do you think?
Pro for me is definitely form factor. when I first started using them, when I was doing stuff that I wanted soft light, just the fact that they're larger than a single source was, so I didn't have to diffuse it as much. I could use it for a lot of different things. I could cut the light the way I wanted it to with any kind of, so yeah, it was a already kind of softer light than a single.
Because you're starting with a panel this big already,
Right.
not having to put it through something to then change to modify the light into something bigger.
Yes.
Not starting with a source like this, having to modify it, you're not losing light. You can start with that.
Yeah.
So the downside, the flip side of that coin, is that you have multiple shadows, and that you just can't get away from that when you have multiple little light sources on these guys. They're going to show up as fraction shadows different from each other. Depending how far away the light is, it really kind of will show up greater or lesser. And you can smooth it out with diffusion and stuff. But that was the first con. The second one is there's only so much punch you can get out of, I don't know what watt these little guys are, but they're all the same wattage. You can game them together and bring up the volume, but you can't bring up the intensity by having a whole bunch of them together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just basically the punch is definitely, it's not there, but we got a surprise guest.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in 1 second here. Let's see where are we at. Okay, yeah, we're 4 minutes. That's not bad, actually.
It's not bad.
Okay, so we have small ones. Okay, so this is one of your new ones. What's this guy?
This is Limo Studio. Am I saying Lamo?
I don't know. Limo.
We're gonna apologize in advance for slaughtering these names,
Yeah.
but so this guy is So this one's pretty bright. This one has definitely higher. This is a 160. Yeah, 160. Comes with pretty nice, like these tabs are pretty sturdy, so they won't break off. This slides in here pretty, So this I've liked it. I haven't done a lot of tests, so I don't know any kind of casting. It's supposed to be a 5600, but that has been like for me when I do still photography is when you're mixing light and you're using specifically tungsten like in the background and then use a daylight and it has a green cast. It creates a lot of problems because your tungsten's a lot cleaner light.
So let's talk about the green cast for a second. So when LEDs first came on the scene, the first time I saw one of these particular lights, and it was actually, I think, a newer brand. This is the Neewer, Neewer, and somebody, I was working on a shoot years ago, and one of the guys had this teeny tiny LED, and he could just like throw in a battery and throw in the corner. And I was like, that's awesome, because we were still using, at the time, I think we had a bunch of Lowell hot lights. So we had 250 watt pros, 500 watt omnis, whatever they were. And those are old school lights. But I thought, that's amazing. Where'd that come from? And he was like, yeah, it was like $60. And I was like, what? And he said, I got it from Alibaba.com. Or no, what's the new one? Oh, AliExpress is the new one. Yeah, it was Alibaba. Yeah. And I'm like, Ali what? So anyway, long story short, I never kind of pulled the trigger on them because they wanted to have you buy like 20 at a time and all that stuff. And you never knew if you were going to get them for sure or whatever. The other thing is the initial turnoffs were the plastic, how it was all plastic, and how you never knew what lamps you were getting inside of it. Right. A lot of these, if you go back on my YouTube channel, I have a video called like the dangers of shooting with cheap LEDs. It's because they come across really green. And one of the ways to measure that is your CRI rating, which is your color rendering index, which isn't the only way to read it. People are starting to kind of shy away from that because it's getting overused. Right. There's another TV standard which I'm not really familiar with. But you want to go 85 at the very least or higher to have a light that's not going to have some kind of green cast, which makes your skin tones look really, really crappy. And then like a negative green gel doesn't always fix the problem. Doesn't always. You can throw it's like what is it called? A rose. It's a minus green, but it's like minus green. It's an actual color too. But anyway, it's like a rose-colored gel, which will take a lot of it out. But yeah, you're still getting that green spike in there, which you have to take out in post, which isn't a very fun thing. Having said that, nowadays, 99% of the time, unless it's an old lot or something like that, these cheap LEDs are going to be pretty darn good. Yeah. So this newer is one of the newer versions of that light. It's $30, and it'll do fine. Yeah. And like this one came with a battery. This one was $24.99 on Amazon. So that was with a battery, came with a charger, and came with a thank you note. Yes. I love those. So do you need to spend a whole bunch on LED lights? You don't need to, but in some ways it is, you get what you pay for. Okay, I paid $200 for these 1x Panels, which is crazy cheap. They put out a lot of light. They're a little bit cooler than 56K. They're a little bit bluer, but we use them all the time. The downside is they scream. I don't know if we can hear it. Turn it on.
Yeah, it's usually like so. This is all the way down, and they have to heat up.
Can you hear it? Yeah, not so much. They have to heat up a little bit, but about halfway on the dimmer, they start to
right there. There they go. I don't know if you can pick that up.
I have these mics not very sensitive today, so you probably pick it up. But when you're doing interviews and dialogue, the sound guy's like, "What is that sound?" So you got to be careful. You do get what you pay for, but sometimes you look out, and sometimes you're like, you know what? I'm going to use these for background lights only. I don't necessarily like doing that, but this was an experiment. I wanted to see if I could get a cheap LED cart I could throw all my cheap LEDs on.
Which we use quite a bit, actually.
We do. We use all the time. But now, after having looked at everything, I'm still going to use these, but I'm excited about. I was kind of down or knocking the aperture stuff, but after kind of playing with the light storms and then these guys, I don't know what they're called now.
It's just the 528S. So this is the spot version. They have a wide version, and I think they do that with actually controlling the angle of the LEDs that are mounted inside.
Yeah, so not one size fits all on these guys. They have different beam angles, little miniature lenses kind of on the LEDs. So this is a spot, you're saying?
This is the spot. It's nice because this one, the fader has an actual hard stop. Some of these crappier ones, they do not have hard stops. So, and 18 volt has a nice kind of your battery status. And these ones have that cool feature. I didn't even know about the feature till you emailed me and told me about it, about the charging situation.
So these guys will charge your batteries while they're on the back of the unit being powered with house power, which is like freaking awesome, because I'm always like stressed, like, oh, I'm using these lights, but the next scene we're going to be outside in the car. Am I going to have enough battery charge for the next scene? And that's frustrating.
And they're like, I mean, as far as I can tell, we can leave it on for a minute, but like it's silent.
Yeah,
like,
I don't think these guys make any noise.
No.
So sometimes they have really good heat dispersion and they don't have any fans or anything. Otherwise, you do run into sometimes these LEDs, not the panels so much, but the different lights. But okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I was going to mention. Oh, again, these are plastic, but you can drop these a few times. They're not going to have a problem with it. I like the idea of being plastic. You can use lighter stands. You can fly them higher, not worry about dropping it on people, besides maybe the batteries.
Yeah. When you arm them out, you don't have to, it's not like it's nice because they have quarter 20s on 3 of the sides and comes with a couple different, the kit's nice. It comes with a couple different, comes with a tungsten gel, this frost, and I want to say there was one other thing I was going to mention. It's 18 volts, so you have to use two
of the
Sony batteries.
LP9s or whatever.
It will not run on just one of the batteries. So
that is only, there's a downside sometimes, but that's not a big deal. Okay, so again, LED panels, very versatile, very cool. The upside is they're inherently soft, they're light, you can travel with them. They run on batteries a lot of times. Downsides are the multiple shadows off of the multiple light sources, and you don't get a ton of punch out of them like you necessarily would off of some other kind of lights that you would normally get with like a Fresnel or something like that.
Right.
So to wrap it up without going too long, because last week was like 20 minutes, but
yeah.
I don't know, I have to look at the stats. I don't know if people watch the entire thing or if they like left halfway through.
Well, listen guys, there's this surprise at the end.
This is the surprise.
We're not doing a giveaway though.
So this is a new form factor. We're not giving a giveaway. We should actually.
We should.
I want to give this away because I only have one.
We're giving away free advice.
Maybe we'll figure out.
That would be cool.
Because we have a couple exciting things happening over at the Battle Tested store.
That's true.
I'm calling it a. What do they call it?
I don't know what do you call that. I'm
parking lot sale.
Oh, parking lot sale.
We had some stuff come in unexpectedly that we need to get rid of. So, all right. So I don't know if you can see this very well. Our preview stopped, but
I was wondering like why I'm turning it on right here and it's not showing up.
It's not working. All right. So this is a new form factor for me. This is a single point light source LED, and they make these in the same format I'm used to with the Fresnel lens, just like you would see like a regular Mole Richardson or Airy Light or something like that, that they just replaced the insides, the tungsten filament with a daylight LED, which is awesome. They're inherently more expensive. I don't know if that's just because of the nature of the beast, because of the structure, because that's the price point people are used to, but this is actually a photo light that they've made into a constant light, and it's got all these cool photo things on it. Tell us about that, Jared.
Well, I think, okay, so I'm not sure why they went with this. So Alien Bees, their situation, I've used Alien Bees before, and their mount system is great. Everybody out there has at least one kind of light modifier that is a Bowens. So you can get a Bowens to Alien Bee adapter. It just pushes it out more, which you're gonna lose a little bit, especially with the Fresnel.
Yeah.
But it's not a big deal. So you can adapt both of them.
So with Bowens, is there other types of Bowens mounts?
No, Bowens is just, it's a 3-prong bayonet style. And this one is, it retracts the claws and comes out. And Alien Bees, I don't know of any third-party people that are making Alien Bees style diffusers or modifiers. So that's where you're going to kind of be stuck with the one manufacturer.
So I'm curious why they did the PhotoDX guys. They went with, and I don't know if it was actually PhotoDX. I think they just are kind of the face of whoever's manufacturing these right now. Why they went with the Alien Bees, other than it is a popular, it's just not as popular as the Bowens mount.
And there's other manufacturers coming out with this type of form factor that have the Bowens already on it. So I don't know if there was something they worked out with Alien Bees, or if that's just what was in the factory that day. They had some of these. But I like it because it's nice, because on the Bowens, when you have a huge softbox, you have to rotate the softbox and pull it out, where this, you just boom and the whole thing comes off. So I like it.
This has opened up a whole new world to me as a filmmaker, as a video guy, because I'm like, oh, so it was kind of straightforward for the photo guys. They go, here's a light source, here's a modifier, I shoot. Whereas for people who are grown up in the film world, you have your open face lights, you have your LED panels, you have your fluorescents. I mean, not that photographers don't use those, but this is a very common photo light style. And you have your, what did I say, Fresnels already? I said already?
Yeah.
Anyway, and then how do you modify those? Do you use a speed ring with a chimera on it? Do you bounce it off a card? Do you all this stuff? Which essentially, you're all getting the same place,
right?
Just a different way. And some are a little more robust for being on set, and some are a little more like quick and easy for like a single photographer guy.
Right.
Some are lightweight, some are heavyweight, whatever. So it's whatever works for you. And that's the coolest thing, is I've built this kind of lightweight kit that we can throw around with just 1 or 2 people, but it still works very well. So this light, really quick, what it has to it has the single light source. It's got the head. It's got this head feeder, which leads to a ballast. This is an improvement on a lot of these cheaper single point LEDs. These ballasts used to be huge. The cheap ones were huge, and they were noisy. They had fans. They were like big old like magnetic ballasts you'd get on an HMI. And it just goes down to a regular old, well, that's a regular.
It's kind of like a
XLR to power.
But it's not really XLR.
Yeah, it's just the connector.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty common power connector in some parts of the industry.
So I did some research on why, and so you want to definitely look at someone that is going to guarantee the CRI, because I did a little research, and why a lot of these came out, and a lot of them still come out, even if they have a name brand, with bad color casts, is because there is a huge industry with warehouses switching over from fluorescence or big HMI drop downs to light warehouses.
You're talking like Costco's, right?
Like Costco, stuff like that. And there was a huge push when this environmental stuff came out to try and get reduced. And these are what they use for all of those. And they manufactured thousands and thousands, thinking they were just going to get ate up. And a lot of them were backlogged. And then when they started being, hey, we can use those that are just sitting there, but they were not set up for the nice colors.
Because you can get super cheap versions of these, and they have ones that are, I think I always stop the thought mid speaking, I apologize. You can get super cheap versions of these, but they're mostly, like you said, overstock, overruns, for the elements that they had, not specifically made
for with the nice color.
So Photoflex has one, the Starlight or something like that, which is like $1,000 for a head. Does it need to cost that much?
No.
Probably not.
Right.
But they put a lot of work into it, I believe. And then any name brand Fresnel that has like the Aries or something like that.
Aries.
Mole Richardson developed their own cluster, but it acts like a single point source, all that stuff. So anyway, why is this so cool to us is that this is going to act just like a Fresnel no, I take it back. This is going to act like a single point, one shadow. You can give it some punch if you want to. The control, I didn't mention this. So these barn doors on these panels, they're next to useless. I'm just going to say that right now.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of control going on, but they're so close to the light source, and these things, they spread so wide, you're going to try and control it.
You have to flag it anyways to...
I just take these off. This one I haven't done yet. So I just basically take them off. I don't worry about it. These guys, because it's coming from one point, it's going straight out the lens there. Once you throw, whatever reflector dish on it, you can use your barn doors to control the light. Oh yeah, so here's the reflector dish. This is what comes with this guy. It slaps on there, and you take the sock off, and there it is. So let's turn it on. And oh, this guy's got a dimmer too, which is pretty cool. Sorry, let me just flash you in the face right there. So the one downside I want to say to this fixture, they say it's quiet.
It's not quiet.
It's not, well, it's not loud.
It's not loud.
But it's not quiet. You can probably hear it.
Let's see. Well, so when we had other, when we did the dental thing the other day, it was more of it was far away from our talent. I didn't hear it because they had that air going for the, so when we've used it on set, we haven't heard it.
More often than not, you're probably going to be fine with something like this that's this loud because you're going to be setting it back depending on what you're doing. Your environments, if you're doing contemporary stuff, are going to mask the sound. But if you're going to be thrown into like these period pieces I always get thrown into doing, where we're in the middle of the woods,
right,
and a cooling fan is as loud as anything. Yeah. So that's one thing to think about. At the price point though, these lights are $300, I think, brand new, which is like amazing for what you get out of it. It has a umbrella holder too. Do you notice that?
Oh, nice.
Anyway,
cool.
Yeah, so what you get out of this light, I'm stoked. It's about a 400 watt equivalent tungsten output. That's something for another topic, maybe some research, but you have different manufacturers. So this is a 100 watt and it puts out 400 watts equivalent. You have I'm trying to think who else has a 100 watt one that they say, oh, it puts out like a 1K. And it's like, there's no way.
There's a couple off-brands like that are available with Amazon UK, and there's some off-brands here. You kind of have to look for them because, again, you're going to get stuck with something that has a sub 85 CRI if you're not careful. And there's a lot of actual ASRE style stuff that's coming out that doesn't have Fresnel lenses on it, that gives horrible magenta casts. And so you really want to be careful. I mean, if you've got some money to spend, you want to just experiment, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to have something go on set, you might as well buy something that's...
What we'll do is on the blog post, if you click down in the description to the blog post, we'll have a whole list of lights you should not get.
Yes.
And lights that we know that we've used that we would say that these are probably a safe bet to jump on. And that list we're just working on growing and growing and growing.
Something that's we've taken to set. It's been something that if someone's gaffing, that they've they enjoy using it and they're not pulling off other stuff because they don't want to use them.
Here's one other feature which I thought was kind of gimmicky until I started using it.
Ooh. If your gaffer likes to sit on the couch while he's the DP's telling him to...
We're talking to you, Gaffer Kyle.
Yes.
So this little remote will go off on. This will go off on. It'll step down, I think, in 10% increments. I'm probably hitting the wrong button. There we go.
Yeah.
Maybe they're 20%. They're like quarter increments.
It's very cool because, I mean, when we had a small crew the other day, it was just we had too much of a rim and you just brought it down. It was awesome.
Yeah, instead of like running over there, especially in the tight spaces we were in, I was just like, hold on, and brought it down. The other button will go halfway and the other one will just go off. So I thought it was going to be gimmicky. If I lose it, I'll be sad, but that's another cool little feature that a lot of these guys are starting to have now, even the panels.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Aperture that has it, that's coming out with a bunch of stuff that has all of their special lights, their these that are coming out
So that's another thing which I'm flabbergasted. It's like Aperture has come out with I saw it on NAB. It's actually pretty cool. They say its output is a 1.2K, I believe, or maybe it's a 1.5, maybe 1.2. But it's the same form factor as this. It's kind of like a photo light. Has these cool modifiers. You can throw a Fresnel lens in the front of it.
Well, they had this smaller one too that was a 7,000K light.
Oh, the on-camera one, the tiny one?
No, there was I saw one that had it was a small form, it was like a miniature one of these, had really sharp doors that you could shape.
Yeah.
But then it had these different gels so you could put
Drop
them
in like in the barrel or something.
in the barrel, yeah. So but it's not coming out.
They call that like a background light or something.
Background light, right.
Which I think, have a couple of those would be cool to do some little background shaping. But the aperture version of this looks really cool, but it's only offered tungsten at the moment.
Yeah.
Which is like,
It's, I think, going to be late August, maybe September before they come out with the daylight.
I hope it's soon, because I think not doing daylight in an LED factor, if that's the only light you're going to be getting, is not a smart thing to do. Unless you only shoot tungsten, which I almost only shoot daylight, but I did that before. That was cool.
Yeah.
I liked that a lot.
Tungsten has tungsten versus daylight. I mean, tungsten sounds cool.
Well, some guys really, tungsten light on skin tones and stuff.
Right.
It looks warm, it looks nice and stuff. Personally, I like the blue. I think it's a more natural look. I like shooting more natural kind of window light, motivated kind of stuff. I just like, also coming from a green screen background or a visual effects background, where we're constantly green screening things, you get a truer fidelity out of the, see, I said fidelity again, that's a sound word.
Fidelity?
You said fader a second ago. And so
fader.
We're like all mixing sound in.
And I'm like, I'm doing I'm signaling the audience.
That's awesome. Everyone who knows Morse code will know.
I don't know Morse code. I'm just signaling.
What was I saying though? I was saying something.
Sorry, we totally lost.
That's okay, because we're like way over time now.
Okay.
I think we're 24 minutes, which is insane.
It's not bad.
I apologize.
This is good. This is good.
Hopefully this is like, you got it. I got to make the audio available, because then you could listen to it on the way to work or something.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed making this LED.
You had to throw it in there. Oh, last thing. Let's just talk about this really quick. So LED form factor, guys. This is the last kind of cool thing. Besides, dude, I got ripped off. I bought these today. It's missing one. And these aren't cheap. Well, these are the cheap versions, but these aren't cheap light bulbs.
Oldest trick in the book.
They said 4 and there's 3 in there. I'm kind of ticked off. Okay.
Some construction guy.
These are LED bulbs. Now, there's 2 reasons why you want to get these. First off, you can
talk
get...
about that, because I'm going to hook up the lightsaber as our closing.
Oh yeah, grab that. So you can throw them in something like a pseudo, this isn't exactly a, what am I trying to say here? It's not a China ball, but it's a China lantern. Kind of has the same effect, throwing light out. We could use these for a specific thing the other day, so that's why it's square. But you throw some really high fidelity, I said it again, high output, high quality LED light bulbs, just medium thread, in one of those lights, and you have this awesome, cheap daylight light source. Option 2 is, if you're shooting a lot of things, one of the things you want to have in your kit or your truck is you want to have a whole bunch of light bulb options. So these guys are little 40 watt, I want to say incandescent, but they're not, they're LEDs. They go in background light. So like we're shooting in a living room or a kitchen, and you look at it and go, oh man, I want to have those practical lights on, but it's so bright because the homeowner has 100 watts in there. Well, you could throw it on a dimmer, or you can just run over and throw in your 40 watt. Right. All of a sudden, it looks perfect for the scene. And you can get these daylight, warm light, cool light, something light, warm, soft,
The other
whatever.
thing that's cool is they've just come out with, now they're a little expensive, but since...
The Philips ones?
No, so remember I talked to you about, they have a light bulb that's a smart light bulb. You twist it in, you download the app, and then you can actually dim that light from your cell phone.
Can you do a whole setup? You're like sitting there on the couch, like, I'm lighting this whole scene.
Yes, it's like a video game. And we're gonna, the other thing about LEDs we didn't even mention is the DIY possibilities.
Absolutely.
This is the lightsaber.
This is Jared's version of the iced light.
What was that movie? I see our Schwartz is that's Spaceballs. My wife's gonna kill me. I told her I wouldn't say that. Anyways, but yeah, so this is
It's late.
It's late. Okay.
It's been a long week so far.
This right here is $20 for this light
At the Home Depot?
Yeah, I don't know if we never did our Kino, but this is like part of the Kino build that I'm doing, and my whole goal was to make it look just like a Kino form factor. Anyways, These have been super sick. I've used them on set. They're great little just throw anywhere.
We need to pull some of your music video shots soon.
Yes.
Because you used a bunch of these in that, didn't you?
I used this as a special underneath the piano.
That's cool.
And yeah. We're going to...
Do they flicker? Do you notice that at all?
The only thing they flicker at is if you shoot, I have noticed it at 120, but it's not noticeable unless you actually slow it down.
So a lot of these LEDs are high frequency enough, they're not going to flicker. I have a bunch of LED shop lights I put in my living room so I could shoot. My wife does a bunch of fitness stuff, so we could do some super bright fitnessy things. But once, like you're saying, once you get past 60 frames a second, they start to flicker.
Like I don't know if you shoot 120 frames per second, but you don't actually slow it down. I don't think you'll see it.
Oh, right, I see.
But and I've been fine with 60 frames per second. It's sorry, 120 frames per second, and then you're shooting at 60, but your shutter speed is at 120.
And your playback at 24.
Playback at 24.
That would slow it down.
That would slow it down, but
or do you master at 60?
No. If you're mastering at 60 and you play it at 60, no.
Okay.
But when you shutter speed 120 and you master it down to 23, you will see it in your like blacks, and you'll see it on your I didn't see it in the whites, but in the blacks you could see it. So, anyways.
All right, I think we've probably slaughtered this topic as much as it's going to be slaughtered right now.
Yes.
But it was fun.
Okay, I'm turning off the LSD.
The takes from today are: don't be afraid of buying cheap LEDs nowadays. And as long as there's been a good review out there of somebody who seems like they know what they're talking about, saying, yeah, I would use these lights. So the newer brands, which I would buy a bunch of these. The downside is they don't last as long. I've had some of these panels just stop working. So if you're going to be the kind of person who just is like a weekend warrior, use them for quick interviews, they're going to be fine. This one is the
best light.
This is the one by, for anyone who's listening, it's the best light, which is like the nicer version of Newer. They're the same manufacturer. You're going to be fine with all these. There are quirks, there are things like that. But if you want to make sure you're going to spend a little bit more and not have any problems, go with the Aperture.
Solid build.
Or you can jump on like the light panels or the F&Vs, or I'm trying to think any of the name brands, you're going to be fine. But if you want to stay kind of low budget, the Apertures are going to be great. F&Vs are a little bit more expensive. And then the exciting new world of single point lights, which is going to be...
It's just going to get better in the next year.
I haven't talked about it. I can throw a Fresnel on this guy. It's kind of a ghetto version, but it does make the light throw a little bit further and punch a little bit better. It doesn't act like a true Fresnel, but it's better than this just reflector dish. I'll have to show that sometime. But it's a total DIY. So anyway, if you're interested in this light, let us know. We could probably swing some kind of cool deal, and I might give this one away.
That's right.
Might give it away.
He licked it though.
Well, you have to if it's your gear. Otherwise, people take it from you.
That's right.
Anyway, all right, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Graphic right here.
Graphic right there. Subscribe. And it's late. So, where are you going tomorrow?
Burley.
Going to Burley
to shoot some That's why you should move to Burley once you see this video. It's an economic thingamajigger.
You bring the drone?
They didn't say they wanted any drone. I offered.
I think we should do drones next week.
Drones would be good.
If the weather's nice, we'll do drones.
If the weather's nice, we should do some drones. Hey, were we your old Phantom?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, we got some ideas.
I have a Phantom 1 that's been crashed a few times that
yes,
still flies.
But we can make it not fly. All right.
Okay. Where's the off button? My iPad turned off.